Okay, let's dive in. We are tackling, I think it's safe to say, one of the biggest media stories of the year, maybe the decade. The 2025 animated musical K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh, absolutely. It's been unavoidable.
Right. And if you're listening, you probably know how huge it became. But we want to get into the mechanics. Like, how did this film, this blend of demon hunting, urban fantasy, K-pop idols, how did it actually work on such a massive scale?
It really is fascinating. A total phenomenon that honestly blew away most predictions. So our mission today is to unpack how the Sony Pictures animation film hitting screens via Netflix became this global touchstone.
And we have sources covering pretty much everything, right? The creative side, the mythology, plot details, and those, frankly, mind-boggling success metrics.
Exactly. The production, the story, the numbers, it's all laid out.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty with Huntrix and the Saja boys, we just have to establish the context here. This wasn't just a popular movie. It feels like it shifted something in streaming.
It absolutely did. I mean, look, the headline figure, the one that really stands out from our sources, K-pop Demon Hunters became the most watched original Netflix title ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
We're talking 325 million views. That kind of number tells you this wasn't just hitting one demographic. That specific mix of K-pop, fantasy, animation, it clearly resonated with a huge global audience that was maybe waiting for something exactly like this.
Yeah, you don't get numbers like that by accident. It has to start somewhere specific. The sources point to the director, Maggie Kang.
She conceived it, and crucially, she drew heavily on her Korean heritage. That wasn't just window dressing, it was foundational.
So it wasn't just taking K-pop aesthetics and sticking them onto a standard fantasy plot.
Exactly right. It was a genuine fusion. This is labeled as an animated musical urban fantasy, but it's deeply infused with Korean mythology, specific demonology, and the very particular structures and performance styles of K-pop. Kang co-wrote it too, so that blend felt, intentional, baked in from the start.
Okay, but visually, blending all that, anime influences, K-dramas, music videos, that sounds incredibly difficult to get right. Did the sources mention how Sony Pictures Imageworks pulled that off? What made it look coherent?
Well, they leaned hard on a couple of things. First, using concert lighting and editorial photography as visual touchstones.
Oh, okay.
So the action sequences, the fights, they feel less like, just random brawls and more like these intensely choreographed, almost staged performances, especially with the dance integration.
Right, sounds.
And second, the music itself, the score by Marcelo Zarvos, plus all the original songs. They made sure the music and the action felt totally intertwined. The songs weren't just breaks in the story, they were the story a lot of the time.
And speaking of story drivers, you have these two opposing groups at the center. Our heroes, the girl group Huntrix, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, living double lives.
Demon hunters by night, idols by day. Yeah, and then the rivals, the Saja boys.
The dark reflection.
Exactly. They're secretly demons led by Jinu, who used to be human. His goal is basically to tear down the spiritual protection the girls uphold. It's such a smart setup, using that built-in idol rivalry, who's got the better song, the better look, and mapping it onto this huge supernatural conflict. Who's really perfect and who's hiding something monstrous.
That K-pop rivalry gives it sizzle, but the whole thing rests on the threat feeling real. So the mythology, what's the backstory there? The demonology.
Okay, so you have to rewind way back. Ancient history. Demons were preying on humans, basically harvesting souls for their ruler, Guima.
Who looks like a giant fiery mouth. That's terrifying.
Right, pure consumption. And the first line of defense wasn't warriors in the typical sense. It was three women, the original hunters, who used their singing voices.
Their voices? Seriously?
Seriously, the pure harmonic power of their singing created this magical barrier, the Hanmoon, like a shield made of sound.
Wow, okay, so right away, performance, voice, that's established as literal power in this world.
It's the core magic system. So the modern Huntrix trio, they aren't just putting on shows for fans. Their performances are actively maintaining and strengthening that ancient barrier.
And they have a bigger goal too, right? Not just holding the line.
Exactly. They're aiming for the golden Hanmoon, which is envisioned as this final, perfect, permanent seal. Banish the demons for good. And how they function as a K-pop group links directly to how they fight.
Okay, let's break down the team then. That synergy sounds interesting.
So Rumi's the lead vocalist. She carries the sanjum, a sword. Arden Cho voices her, with EJ doing the singing.
So she's the anchor, the main voice.
Right, but she's also holding this massive secret, which we'll get to, that completely undermines that stability. Then you've got Mira,
the visual, main dancer. and the black sheep from a rich family, is that right?
Yeah, that's her background conflict. And she uses a gokdo polearm. Think about it. Long, flowing, requires incredible grace and movement. Perfect for a main dancer.
Nice. Audrey Nuna on her singing vocals.
Yep. And finally, Zoe. She's the main rapper, the lyricist, the McNai, the youngest of the group.
Raised in Burbank, uses throwing knives, the shink.
Well, right. Fast, precise, rhythmic attacks. Totally fits the rapper role. Rayami does her singing voice, so you see that mapping. Leadership and voice with the sword, dance and grace with the polearm, rhythm and speed with the knives. It's really smartly done.
And we have to talk about the voice cast overall. I mean, they didn't skimp. The level of talent is kind of nuts. That must have helped with the initial buzz on Netflix.
Oh, for sure. It felt like a statement. You have Arden Cho, obviously, then On Hyosoup as Jinu, the Soulja Boy's leader. Big names.
And Yoonjin Kim as Celine, their trainer and foster mom.
Yes, and Daniel Dae Kim as Healer Han. Then you get Ken Jeong as Bobby, their agent.
Always great.
And the legendary Lee Byung-hun voicing the main villain, Guma.
And he did the Korean dub too.
He did. Which just shows the level of commitment. And one more for Celine's singing voice. Her backstory involves being a former hunter. They got Leah Salonga.
Wow. Musical theater royalty?
Exactly. So the whole sonic identity of the film is just top tier. It matches the visuals.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. Moving beyond the setup into the core emotional stuff. It all hinges on Rumi, right? Her big secret.
Yeah, this is the engine of the plot, really. She's half demon, only she and Celine know. And these demonic patterns are physically appearing on her skin, spreading.
Like a visible manifestation of her hidden nature.
Precisely. And it creates this horrible dilemma. Her voice is her power, the group's power, the key to the Han Moon. But she's terrified her demonic side will corrupt it or be revealed.
So she pushes to finish the Golden Han Moon quickly, hoping it'll sort of cleanse her.
Exactly. She rushes their single golden, hoping activating the ultimate barrier will erase the patterns. But the stress, the self-rejection,
Right.
It actually causes her to start losing her voice. Her power source is failing because she can't accept herself.
Oof. And that ties into her relationship with Gina, the demon leader. It's complicated.
Super complicated. He actually sees her patterns during a fight early on, but he helps her hide them, which makes him this really ambiguous figure for a while. Is he an enemy? A potential ally? It's unclear.
And he introduces this key theme.
Shame.
Yes, this is central. Jinu tells Rumi that shame is literally how Guima controls demons. It's the king's leverage, feeding on their guilt and self-loathing.
And Jinu has his own shame story, or the story he tells anyway.
Right. He initially paints this tragic picture. Guima gave him an amazing voice to help his poor family, but then condemned him, leaving him racked with guilt. Makes him seem sympathetic.
But that's not the real story.
Not quite. Later, when Guima confronts him directly, the truth comes out. Guima basically reminds him, no, you chose this. You abandoned your family for the power and comfort I offered.
Ah, so his shame isn't from being unfairly punished, it's from his own choices. His betrayal.
Exactly. It's a brilliant twist because it shows how self-deception and hidden guilt are the real fuel for the demonic influence. It's not just external evil, it's internal compromise. And that internal stuff spills out into the group dynamics. The Han Moon barrier is weakening, Rumi's struggling, and they try writing this aggressive demon hunting song, Takedown.
Which sounds like a good idea on paper, right? Get tough, fight back. But for Rumi, the lyrics feel like attacking herself because she is part demon.
So it represents internalized hate for her.
Totally. Mira and Zoe just see it as necessary, righteous anger. But Rumi can't sing it authentically. It creates this huge rift between them right before the big Idol Awards performance.
And the climax involves this awful betrayal.
Heartbreaking. They decide not to sing Takedown. They're going with Golden. But imposter demons manipulate the situation, trick Rumi into performing Takedown anyway, and then they expose her demonic patterns to the whole world, live on stage.
Devastating. Publicly revealed, shamed.
She runs, obviously, totally humiliated. And there's this incredibly tense scene where she finds Celine and basically begs her foster mother, her trainer, to kill her, put her out of her misery.
But Celine refuses.
Refuses, even though she's a hardened hunter. And that refusal somehow forces Rumi to face herself. It's the turning point.
So instead of giving in to the shame,
She rejects it. She goes back interrupts the Saja Boys' performance, Gina's performance, and sings this completely new improvised song.
About her own feelings, her shame, her acceptance.
Exactly. It's raw, vulnerable, totally honest, a public act of radical self-acceptance, and that's the magic.
That's what works.
That's what works. Her authentic voice, accepting all parts of herself, breaks Mira and Zoe out of a trance Guimau had put them in. It inspires Gino too. He finally understands his own worth, sees past his shame, and makes the ultimate sacrifice.
He gives his soul to Rumi.
Gives his restored soul energy to Rumi, amplifying her power. This allows Huntrix, now fully reunited and empowered, to finally defeat Guimau and create a new, stable Han-Moon barrier. The weapon wasn't hate, it was acceptance, sung out loud.
Wow. Okay. That's quite the resolution. Let's pull back now to the impact, the hard numbers, because that emotional core clearly hit a nerve on a massive scale. We mentioned the 325 million views on Netflix.
Record-breaking for an original title, yeah. But the story doesn't stop there. It actually jumped platforms, in a way.
Into theaters, which is unusual for Netflix originals, especially animation.
Right. They released a sing-along version theatrically later in 2025, and get this. It wasn't just a small, limited run. It became the widest theatrical release ever for a Netflix film.
Wider than even big live-action ones like Glass Onion.
Wider than Glass Onion. And then did something even more remarkable. It actually topped the US box office. A Netflix original film, primarily designed for streaming, became the #1 movie in theaters for a time.
That's a paradigm shift, isn't it? A streaming movie dominating the theatrical space like that. Shows incredible cultural pull.
It really does. And the music fueled that constantly. The soundtrack didn't just sell well, it went platinum, certified by the RIAA by October 2025.
Platinum is huge for a soundtrack.
It is, but even crazier is the Billboard chart performance.
What happened there?
It became the first film soundtrack in history to have 4 different songs in the Billboard Hot 100 Top 10 at the same time.
4 songs in the top 10.
Simultaneously.
Just think about that level of saturation. You couldn't escape the music. It proves the songs weren't just background noise. They were arguably the main event, the thing driving the whole phenomenon.
So with all that success, it seems inevitable. What's next for this world? Are sequels or spin-offs confirmed?
The sources confirm definite movement. There's a short film already rated by the MPA back in September debut, a K-pop demon hunter story.
Okay, so expanding the universe already.
Seems like it. And a full sequel feature film is officially being considered. Given the numbers, considered probably means definitely happening unless something goes very wrong. This is clearly their next big franchise.
So tying it all together, the success wasn't just luck or marketing hype. It sounds like it was this perfect storm. High concept action, incredibly polished music and animation, but anchored in these really deep, resonant themes. Heritage, identity, the pressure of performance versus authenticity, and especially that core theme of shame and acceptance.
Using the K-pop idol framework, this world built on projecting perfection, to explore what happens when the mask slips, when vulnerability shows, that seems universal.
Exactly. So when you dig into it like this, you see the phenomenon wasn't accidental. The mythology, like the Han-Moon being powered by voice, tying literal survival to performance, and making shame the villain's weapon. That made the internal struggles feel just as critical as the demon fights. It was all engineered really effectively to resonate.
It leaves you with this thought, doesn't it? Here we have this massive global hit, K-pop Demon Hunters. And in its world, the most powerful force, the ultimate weapon against darkness, both external and internal, is singing your truth. Acceptance voiced aloud. So if that's the fantasy that captured the global imagination on such an unprecedented scale in 2025, what does that say about what audiences are really searching for in their stories right now? Something to think about while we wait for that sequel.